It is time for Around the 412 with Smitty and Tyler.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Around the 412, the Around the 412 Steelers show specifically. No Tyler this week. He's out being a good citizen. Somebody at his church had a little mishap, if you will, helping them deal with that and doing some work for them over there. But fear not, I got a co-host on today's podcast. Newly engaged tight end of the Pittsburgh Steelers, Pat Freiermuth, joining the pod. Pat, how we doing, pal?
Doing great, man. Not a lot of things to complain about right now in my life. So everything's been good.
I mean, we obviously have talked about this, but officially on screen, congratulations on the engagement. I'm sure people in the comments will be wishing you well as well. But I want to jump into a lot of things here. A lot has happened since the last time that we even have seen each other in person. One of those being you got a brand new quarterback, and we're a minute into this thing, and people are thinking I waited way too long to bring it up. We got to talk about Aaron. You've been mentioned a ton by Aaron when he's made appearances on the Pat McAfee show as somebody that was DMing him a lot, part of a recruiting pitch to him. What has your relationship been like? Obviously, very early on in the process there in terms of building a relationship with Aaron, and what is he like? Because I feel like there's maybe this, I don't know, mischaracterization, if you will, about Aaron, the way that he is kind of talked about within the media space. What have you made of Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah, obviously I was in his DMs probably, not all the time, probably like a couple
You think he's
times.
overdoing it a bit, talking about it? Maybe
No,
he's
I
making
love it.
too much
I
of it.
mean, I definitely did a handful of times for sure. But I think everyone thinks I was like every day. But nah, definitely sent him some. Just shot him over a DM and was like, if you ever need any questions or anything like that, like feel free to ask and reach out. And we had some good dialogue. And then when he signed, he texted me and said he's excited for this journey together and stuff. And I'm just excited to be, in the locker room with him. He's a four-time NFL MVP, arguably one of the best quarterbacks to ever play the game of football. And so he's one of the best pure passers. And man, like just watching him like in practice and throwing him the ball, and man, it's awesome.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. Like, what's different about him as opposed to some other guys? I mean, not to talk down on anybody else, but more so to prop Aaron up. Like you mentioned, the accolades obviously they speak for themselves. He hasn't done any team period stuff, obviously, in mini camp and stuff like that. We'll wait till training camp. But what have you been able to see from him to tell you there is still some gas left in that tank?
Yeah, just the way he, releases the ball. He has multiple different arm angles, and I think it was cool to experience that just kind of like in a one-on-one catching, no routes or routes on air and stuff like that. Just the ball placement, the different arm angles were the flick of the wrist, and I mean, there's a lot to like. It's awesome.
How quickly do you think that he's kind of getting himself acclimated, not necessarily even from just like a football perspective, but just in terms of like becoming one of the guys with you guys?
Wait, hold on, sorry. My phone was uncharged. It was about to die. But anyways,
You're all good.
no, it was he's awesome. He's a great locker room guy. I mean, I think the first time he came in and talked to us, as some guys on the team, it was cool to get to understand him and get to hear where he came from and stuff, and how excited he is for this year, especially playing with some guys on our team. I think we have a lot of talent on the offense, and I think he understands that too. So, I think he's gonna, you know, he's gonna push everyone to play better, in my opinion, to want to play better, because you don't want to. It reminded me of how when I was playing with Ben, how he would. It's like that's Ben Roethlisberger. Like I don't want to be the guy that messed that up. You know what I mean? Like I may have a bad play for him, and so I think a lot of guys feel that way is because it's Aaron Rodgers. You don't want to make Aaron Rodgers look bad because he's Aaron Rodgers. So like, I feel like a lot of guys are going to be fired up and juiced up to go.
You mentioned something within. I actually didn't send you the list of topics prior to, but you said something that I think is an interesting segue, something I wanted to touch on. We've talked about this off camera, obviously in a conversation, but you've had Ben Roethlisberger as your quarterback. Last year you had Russell Wilson. Now you got Aaron Rodgers catching passes from 3 Hall of Fame quarterbacks, future Hall of Fame quarterbacks. There's not a lot of guys that can say that. How often, if at all, have you let that sit in your mind? Is it kind of like a badge of honor, if you will, or does that do you not think about it?
Yeah, honestly, I didn't really think about it until like this past like couple of weeks. Honestly, I was hanging out with my buddies in Boston, and we were all just like kind of sitting down and talking and stuff, and um, they were just like, "Dude, it's like pretty cool that you got to play with like Ben Roethlisberger, Russell Wilson, and Aaron Rodgers. Like that's three like Hall of Fame quarterbacks, and like it is cool. Like I kind of sat back and thought about it, and it's pretty cool to say I was teammates with all three of them because I think all three of them do a really good job of making sure their teammates feel appreciated and like that they care about their teammates. So yeah.
Um, Speaking of, kind of going back to what you just said there, along with the fact that you were part of this recruiting for Aaron Rodgers, I think really speaks to the leadership role that you are stepping into. We had a discussion about that last year. Something, people at Penn State definitely spoke highly of when you were coming into the league. But, as a young player, that could be hard to do right away. But now as a vet, having signed a second contract, I wanted to touch on that for a couple different reasons. We could go in multiple avenues with this. But first, I wanted to touch on you taking on this role of hosting this football camp now and being a part of this. I don't think that you expected the reception to be what it was. I texted you yesterday morning talking about it, and you were like, "Is this why my phone's blowing up?" Like, I don't think that you realized this was going to be made a big deal by people with you taking this on. Like, to you, it's just doing another thing and giving these kids an opportunity to do something that they signed up to do. But for you, what went through your mind? Why did you feel the need to pick up, the slack there, if you will, or to do this football camp?
Yeah, I just felt that, I feel very passionately about, the Pittsburgh community, the city of Pittsburgh. And, anytime, something happens, I want to make sure that I have the city of Pittsburgh's back. And so an opportunity came to me and was able to, make it work with dates and travel and stuff like that. And obviously, I wanted, the kids of Pittsburgh anytime they can interact with not only myself but anyone on the team. Those are the
Mhm.
days that and the moments that those kids remember forever. And so, yeah, it means a lot to not only myself but the whole team. And I feel as if a handful of guys are going to show out because that means we're
I was just saying that was kind of put out there, but is
yeah.
there information regarding that, or is it still just for sure you're
Yeah,
going to
it's
stick
still
around?
I haven't really asked them. I
Okay.
still like within. I mean, I still don't have much details on the camp, but that should be coming
Yeah.
soon. But um,
Which we're
yeah,
definitely
no,
going to talk about a bunch going forward on here.
yeah,
As the information comes out, we'll continue to pass that along. I know it's very
yeah,
fresh,
yeah,
so don't have many details right now. But
yeah,
I wanted to ask you about the mindset of doing it first and foremost, and again, just like jumping up on the opportunity to do so. I know that like your schedule this off
yeah,
season pretty crazy, being engaged. You got family member that's getting married as well, and everything that you got going on. You weren't planning on having a football camp, so for you to
yeah.
now jump into the fire, if you will, and host it, I think definitely speaks volumes to your character. And I know the families and the kids are going to appreciate it.
Appreciate
I
it.
can't wait to be a part of it now.
Yeah, I appreciate
So
it.
I'm excited to be there and
It's gonna be
see
great.
everything that goes
It's gonna
down
be a
with
great
it.
day. It's gonna be a great day.
When did that switch flip for you, though, in terms of like understanding the city and everything about it and just kind of wanting to embody it, make it your own and make as much impact as possible? Because we had a text conversation about this, and I don't want to pat my own back and talk
Yeah,
about myself here, but within that conversation you said something about like, our friendship kind of opening your eyes towards the way that the fan base kind of, how much they care about this team. I think that
yeah,
everybody, as soon as they're drafted by the Steelers, kind of understands that. And even from watching afar, how passionate this fan base is. But was it, largely due to our conversations, or what made you realize or want to become so vested in this city?
yeah. Honestly, so like obviously getting drafted to Pittsburgh, I obviously know how much football and sports mean in
Mhm.
Pittsburgh. Just obviously going to Penn State and stuff. But I think it did like when you first get to Pittsburgh, you meet so many people, and it's like everyone on the team. You try and focus on them because it's your job, it's your business. You want to play well and everything like that. But when you get established and you figure out a schedule and stuff like that, you want to give back to the people that show you support on Sundays, or we're in the position where we can help people in need, and so why not help back? Why not show support to the city that needs it when they support us. I mean, they pay for us to watch us play. They tune in every Sunday. Their lives revolve around Sunday Steelers football, and going and getting to meet. And you kind of lose that with not making personal relationships in the city. And when you and I got and started texting and getting in touch and stuff, it really was cool for me to see the fan aspect of it, because at the end of the day, you and I are boys. So like, whatever happens on the field, like, you're never gonna take that person with me. So then I'm cool with. It's cool seeing how much it means to the city, because you are a big part and big voice in the city, especially on social media. So just seeing how much it means to them, and hearing your perspective on things, and it's just, I'm very thankful for our friendship because of, um, you teaching and showing me that how really important, and allowing me to introduce myself to people in your world has really shown how much it means.
I appreciate that. And I know that
Yeah.
there's, so many people. There's like, I had deactivated Twitter this past weekend while I was on
Yeah.
vacation, and I had so many
My
people
timeline
that
was a
didn't even.
lot like cleaner too. I wasn't getting blown up by this
I had
stuff.
a lot of people texting me that didn't even realize that I had deactivated until the thing came out about you hosting this football camp, because they
Yeah.
were trying to tag me. Like, I
Oh, okay.
have so many people that obviously like that are Steelers fans that have just developed so much more of an appreciation for you, Pat Freiermuth, as opposed to just number 88 on the field
Yeah.
in the last year and a half, basically.
Yeah.
So, I just want you to understand that it's definitely noticed and appreciated.
Appreciate that.
Those strides that have been taken, certainly
Mhm.
off of the field. I want to go back and talk about something you're going to be involved in, and maybe some of your teammates as well. We got this Malibu trip coming up to throw with Aaron. One, do we know anybody else that's going to be a part of this? Is it like a multi-person thing? Is it all the pass catchers? Like, what's that group
Yeah,
looking like?
it's gonna be me and a whole handful of receivers. I think like me, DK, Calvin, Roman, a couple other guys are gonna go out. It's a busy time. Not a lot of guys, or some guys couldn't make it work just with schedules, weddings, everything that summer throws
Mhm.
at you. Um, but like, it's gonna be fun. We're going out there, working out for a couple days, and just being back with the guys on the team. You can't really underestimate those moments, because you're building camaraderie off the field, and anytime you can do that, it means well for tough times in the season.
Well, you kind of answered the follow. I was going to ask how important you think something like that is. Not only are you
Yeah,
getting, obviously, like the reps, like I think it's
yeah,
important just to be around football as you get close to training camp, but also just being around the people that you're going to spend so much time with
yeah.
as the season gets here, I think is a big part of it too. So I'm excited to hear about the experience. I'm glad that it looks like it's going to be a pretty decent showing.
Sure.
You've never been to Malibu, right?
No, I've never been to Malibu, but I've been out to around the area, like when I did my pre-draft combine stuff. So I'm excited to get back there. It's gonna be my first time, back there, see some people in my agency, and it'll be a great
Mm.
little vacation. Yeah.
All right, let's talk about the wide receiver room a little bit. Obviously, brought that up there. There's been a lot made about is there not going to be an addition? And like last year when you were on the podcast, felt like we were having the same conversation.
Yeah.
So what do you make of the state of the wide receiver room right now? Is there maybe a guy that's being a little bit underestimated within that room? What have you seen from him so far this spring?
I mean, I love the receivers, man. I think there were some really good football players, and I think they made a lot. The guys on the team last year made a lot of plays, and I think we have a lot of guys in the receivers room that can make a lot of plays as well. I think Roman, he's had a hell of a spring just being around him. Me and him came in, I think 3 or 2 weeks earlier before the
He
OTAs,
looks
and
bigger.
yeah, before the OTAs, and like voluntary workouts started, and we were working out together, and we were just talking, and he's motivated. He obviously wasn't thrilled with how last season went, and you've
Mhm.
seen that in spring and the way he works and stuff. So I'm very excited for Roman. He's got a hell of opportunity. And CA, man, CA's a dog. He's very underrated. I mean, he wins versus man. He knows the soft spots in the zones. He's a super reliable receiver. He makes big time plays in big time moments, and I mean, he has a hell of an opportunity in front of him. This is technically really only his third year, because he missed his rookie year. So
Yeah.
Um,
Well, and Roman missed his rookie year, and that's what I
yeah,
was going to ask you about. You've been around. You yourself didn't have a situation like this happen, but Roman and Troy last year, Calvin,
mhm.
his rookie season, being around guys that have lost that rookie year, that can be a difficult thing to bounce back from. Kind of being around those guys. I was just going to ask how important you thought that was. To at least be able to take in the mental reps if you're not going to be able to do them physically, or like any conversations you've had with those guys in what really became a lost year that was like, hey, like head up or whatever you can say to that guy.
Yeah. I mean, I can talk to them however, like we can talk about it. Most guys, they want to, prove themselves, right. They want to get back to the player that they know they were, and they've worked. All of them, Troy, Rowe, like even Calvin, his rookie year, they all have the same work ethic and same, grit and true like toughness about them that they're not gonna go out like that. So they're confident and ready to go this year as well.
Um, I think everybody knows how close you and Najee Harris were,
Yeah,
and still are, I'm sure,
yeah,
but
yeah,
obviously
yeah.
no longer teammates. But I wanted to ask you about a guy that was brought in, and Caleb Johnson. If you noticed anything from him this spring in terms of the way that he's fitting in, it seems like from like a mental standpoint, like he is like a sponge, like he's just trying to do
Yeah.
everything he can, be around whoever he can. What have you seen early on from Caleb?
Caleb's been great. He's coming every single day, ready to work. He's very attentive in meetings, from what I can tell. Takes a lot of notes. We kind of sit near each other, and I notice him taking a lot of notes and asking good questions in the offensive install. With he works hard, man. He's a hell of a running back. He's going to be his running back tracks. You can tell are very very disciplined, and you can tell he ran a lot of outside zone and stuff in
Mhm.
college. Um, so like his tracks are solid, and that's going to help set up blocks and be beneficial for us in the run game.
I think, especially early on, and not that we would have a good indication of this in the spring,
Yeah,
but early on, a big thing for running backs coming in is how good are they going to be in pass pro? Obviously,
yeah,
Jalen Warren is so good at it. Kenny Gainwell, despite his size, was very good
yeah.
at it in Philly, and I wouldn't expect that that's going to change. Caleb certainly has the size, and I would think that he's going to be good at it. It's why I'm so intrigued by what backs on backers is going to look like at training camp. But yeah, I mean, all those things that you said about Caleb are absolutely true. Curious to see if didn't ask him to do a lot of receiving work at Iowa, probably a product
Yeah.
of how bad that offense is. Let's just be honest about it. You played in the Big Ten, about Iowa's offense. So we'll see there. But I wanted to ask you, not better or worse necessarily, but the difference is going from the quarterbacks that you've all played with now to Aaron. Like, so is there something that he does that's different in terms of learning to play with, whether it's, hand gestures that he has or like his cadence or anything like that? Like, what's different about Aaron from the other guys that you've played with?
I mean, honestly, they're all like I would say his cadence is cool. Like his cadence is elite. Like it's he was teaching us. He didn't throw a lot at us early on just because he got around the team. He was getting acclimated himself. Like he was getting through the playbook himself. I'm sure there's gonna be a lot more stuff like when we work out and get to know him more and get more reps in and stuff like that and whatever him and Art decide. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think his cadence is like elite, like elite. Like he was throwing his clips, like he takes a lot of pride in that, and that's something that we got to be better at offense. So it's cool to have a guy like that going to hold us accountable to how strict the cadence needs to be, um, because it is a weapon for us, and we need it, and we need to be better at that.
Like on Sundays, what do you expect to be different with him running the show? Like, do you think there's something going to be different about your game? Like, do you have to make any adjustments to play with him as opposed to
Yeah,
the quarterbacks you played with before?
I think every quarterback I've played with through my 5 years, I think anytime there's a new quarterback, you want to adjust to how they see the game and how they and how they think you should run a route or something like that. So I think that's the uniqueness of part of the playing the position is adapting to the quarterback because they have so much more on their plate that we can help, you know, alleviate that by adjusting our game to how they see things. So, maybe they like different concepts or maybe I've different run that route before because another quarterback didn't like it, but this one does. So it's all about the evolution. It it challenges your mentality and your mental, and I love it. It's good. Makes me a
Yeah,
better football all around football player. Makes you a lot.
I know that you really appreciate the relationship that you've built with Artie Smith, and I know that
Yeah.
it's early here with Aaron and stuff like that. But like, how do you see that marriage going, if you will, between those two? Just knowing them individually and watching them work together here early on.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be great. I think I love Art. I think me and him have a really good relationship, and I think he's a hell of an offense coordinator. I think his offense is great, and he's just a great guy, great leader, great guy to be around. And I think Aaron's very similar in that. So, when you get those guys and those football minds together, they can create some pretty fun concepts and some pretty good schemes to be a part of, and on different ways to get you the ball. So. I'm super excited for them working together because it's going to be a lot of fun for sure.
All right, and last thing, when's TJ gonna sign? No, I'm just kidding. But I do want to ask you a question about a defensive player before we get out of here to kind of completely flip the script.
Mhm.
Deshaun Elliott signed an extension, and that was somebody going back to last year, the time that I spent at training camp. I probably didn't have any more fun watching like a battle one-on-one than in team period watching you two go against each other. It's just good on good. What have you made of Deshaun Elliott's fit here? Kind of the way that like he's talked about it. He only spent 1 year here so far, but kind of felt like he should have been a Steeler the entire time. What do you make about Deshaun's game, and how excited are you to see him locked in and only have to go against him in practice?
I'm super pumped for Sean, man. We talked about it a lot all off season about his contracts and stuff like that, and I was super pumped for him to see him get him done. I always have a special relationship with Deshaun because you can't. It's kind of like my relationship with Highsmith. Like Coach T, put you guys on the big board or put us on the big board. Me and Alex my rookie year, and then me and Sean this year, and just when he highlights that battle, it brings the best out in both of you because that's what he does during when we game plan. Like he's picking matchups, he's doing all this. So competing against Deshaun and every single day in camp, it makes me better, it makes him better. And it's a fun battle. Obviously, that's what sports is and teamship's all about. You compete, and then you go out and you battle for each other on Sunday, and that's the best. That's where you build lifelong relationships, friendships.
Actually, I have one more question
Yeah.
because I just thought about Aaron mentioning this. His locker's next to yours.
Yeah.
This might sound like a stupid question.
Yeah.
Is there a deeper importance to that with his locker being next to yours? Is that something he requested, you requested? It's just by happenstance. And the second part of that is just like, how pumped are you that that's the case?
Yeah, I mean, it was just literally like the only locker open in the locker room. So fortunate enough that it was the locker right next to mine. And so, I mean, it helps. My locker's also next to Ben's, and it helps, obviously, being next to the quarterback and just kind of, it's easier to have conversations with the guys next to you. And, it's cool. I mean, I don't think you overplay it, but it's cool to be next to him in the locker room.
There we go. Well, I can't wait to see how all this comes to fruition. And
Hell yeah.
I will be, man, I that training camp schedule dropped and all those 155 times. I'm like, it's gonna be way too hot out there. I might make it out for the Friday Night Lights practice. That's Alan wants me out there for that one, but we'll see if I get out
to let us sweat with the boys and some summer camp. That's crazy.
Well, you know what? I was thinking if I do make it out, are we gonna see this video recreated? What up, brother?
What was it? I said 412, right?
Yeah, you said 412.
Yeah, that was tough. Look, I was dying laughing at that. I would check my phone after I saw you tweet that. I was laughing.
I'll be honest. I didn't realize that's what I would have corrected you in the moment if I even realized that's what you said.
You're just too excited. You're too excited that I acknowledged you in front of your friends.
Yeah. Well, hey, you know what? Yeah, got a nice little like head nod from everybody else in the media when it happened. They knew what was up. So
they knew it was up.
But no, I you know how much I appreciate you and your friendship, and I'm very excited for you and to see everything that takes place this year. Know the goals that you have both personally and for the team. So excited to see how it all comes to fruition, Pat. But I can't thank you enough for taking some more time for us here. I'm upset that Tyler wasn't able to be a part of this, but we'll have to make it happen again in the future. Shout out Tyler.
Shout out Tyler.
We'll see him again next week for another Around the 4-1-2 Steelers show. But Pat, any parting messages for Steelers fans?
No, I can't wait to see you guys at camp. In Latrobe.
Well, hopefully your camp and then
hopefully my camp and then Latrobe. Can't wait to see you guys out there, and it's gonna be a fun, exciting season as always. So I'll see you guys soon.
There we go. And I'll end it with this for Smitty, for Pat. Here we go.